our investigation at the work, I think, comes over a period of decades by now. And it started, I think, with a very interesting consideration on how the body, technology, and then spatial expression kind of fused, and what are the potentials of new innovations in digitalization, also in responsive materials, but also questions of security, privacy, sustainability, all kind of forced us to rethink what our built environment is. A lot of implementation of materials into our architectural proposals, I think, also depends on the context and the scale of the projects. With larger buildings, I think, or larger spaces, I feel it's more important to create an overall atmosphere and the relationship to the context that then looks for the right material to explore that. For example, with the Seville project, we really developed the concept and the architectural expression without having a material in mind. Of course, there were always certain, let's say, inputs from, let's say, engineers about timber or about steel construction, and that tries to refine the architectural proposal. How materials are approached or maybe implemented in our contemporary architectural landscape, I think also depends on where we are in our knowledge and in our, let's say, agenda, how environment, the production of the materials, the implementation of materials reflects a certain idea of the future of our planet. And in the last years, of course, sustainability, resilience led us towards a critical consideration what materials can be used and how they can be used in an efficient way. I think it depends on the luxury of knowing, which materials can be very good for specific parts of a building. So the performance of each material also is different, so you cannot really replace one by the other. I think the architectural design really then needs to be in coherence with the material. So a steel construction, of course, looks different than a timber construction. But there are certain trends that seem to also be kind of accepted or get accepted by the market. If you are in kind of a commercial architectural world, so timber or hybrid construction now seems to have a very positive connotation. So that always also works to get closer to the clients, to the people who want to rent it, to have an emotional kind of connectivity to buildings and to spaces. Concrete was something that was kind of considered as right, and the time of the expression in the 90s maybe. Glass had another period of acceptance. So I think there's also, of course, a certain zeitgeist behind materials that always reflect the current state of the concerns for society. So timber right now, of course, has a very positive impact, but I think it also depends on how efficient materials are implemented and or used. There's a friend of mine and their office, certain measures, they look into how to use recycled materials or actually leftovers in a very efficient way to use them in buildings again, to be very precise in how to place them as a puzzle-like structure on building envelopes and facades. So I think digitization and puzzling systems and scanning and reconfigurations might be a different way to use materials that have a very clear concern about being competent in a certain way to handle the problems of our planet and our society. But again, we all live in a moment of uncertainty. So these are all trials and errors to find a way to be on the good side of developing architecture.